Recommendations. After reviewing the file, rezoning application, and site plan, Wendy Oldham, Planning Director for the Town of Wilson's Mills, recommends approval of the rezone from agriculture to commercial as it is reasonable and consistent with the town's adopted comprehensive land use plan. However, is not consistent with the town's future land use map and the town's unified development ordinance. This parcel is listed as residential, but is directly adjacent to Highway 70, future I-42, which does make it a prime location for new commercial development. Town Council action. Recommendation of approval of rezone from agricultural to commercial and acknowledgement of the rezone being inconsistent with the future land use map based on previously mentioned item, or recommendation to deny rezone of this property from agriculture to commercial for the following reasons.
Thank you. Is anyone else wishing to speak? Does council have any question?
I just have a quick question, Wendy. It's for clarification of something. The difference when I'm looking at C70, and I just picked a page. It doesn't matter which page it is, but it happens to be under land use. Well, never mind. Anyway, it's C70. What's the difference between PS, P, and S on the different uses? I see, for example, there's an S and it's a indoor shooting range. P is pest or termite. You see what I'm getting?
P is permitted. PS is permitted with additional standards. What was the third one? Sorry.
S. P, PS, and
Just a
S.
plain S.
Just a
which
plain
makes it
S
special.
is a special use permit.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah,
Could we put sort of a little legend in there next time at the first page, show them what those mean?
I will do that.
Thank you, ma'am. I don't have any other questions.
Any-
Yeah, I'm looking at this, Wendy, and I'm looking at the, I guess it's the parcel map. I don't have a page number, but it's right after the applicant's, copy that we have in our booklet. Am I correct in assuming that that this parcel is going to be split up into these parcels?
No, it's just one big parcel.
There's a piece across the highway though, I see,
Oh, okay.
right there.
There is a small piece across 70, but they are not requesting rezone of that particular portion. So it's not included with the meets and bounds for this rezone.
Picture the map.
So is this, so you're telling me it's not gonna be subdivided up? It's
No,
gonna, whatever, I mean, and I looked at this C70. And I'm gonna be honest with you, there's a lot of stuff that can go in under C70.
mm-hmm,
I mean, a whole lot of stuff.
right.
I mean, go ahead.
If I could interject though, even though there is a whole lot of stuff, to use your quote, we're not talking, because it's restricted, we're not talking asphalt plants and things like that. We're talking a big umbrella for smaller light businesses. Am I correct? That should
No.
not have
Asphalt plant's one of them,
asphalt plant as well
because I just went through and read all of them.
under C70?
Under everything under C70 is the only thing that could go
Yeah,
on that property.
Manufacturing, okay, there's one, manufacturing, industrial, wholesale, under C70, bottling plant, concrete plant.
Concrete, maybe that's what. I
Yeah,
thought.
maybe the concrete plant.
But that would only be used with a special use permit. So if it's zoned for special use permit, that would have to come back before us anyway, wouldn't it, Wendy?
The things that are marked P or PS are the only things that staff can approve. If it's marked with an S, that's
Yeah.
a special use permit, and part of that procedure includes coming back before town council
Okay.
for approval.
So if it's got a P, it means that Wendy could
Right, right.
prove that,
Okay, so a concrete plant has to come back before us.
right?
Um,
Not just permitted
right.
for use. And the PS would also have to have special conditions. Would that have to have?
It has additional standards.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
And see, it would have to meet, it
Right.
just could not be permitted. It would have to meet all those additional standards.
Yeah, so,
in
so
order.
Wendy, without us having to go through individual item by looking at the code and cross-referencing, you know, you're the expert on this and you're the one we rely upon for a lot of the information. Do you see anything in here that relates to, like the concrete plant, which now we know has to come back here? Any other thing that's not light industrial? I mean, you see what we're concerned about.
Right.
We just don't
Right.
want,
No, if it was to go any way toward industrial, we would be trying to rezone it industrial, because that's another whole zoning classification.
right,
But for the commercial, it's more your businesses, the ones that I can approve as staff,
Okay.
is your businesses that are coming in. Your hotels, which is again, a business.
well, do you actually see anything in here that should worry us, knowing how we feel about stuff like that?
Not under C70, no.
Okay.
Anything that's under there that I feel like you would be concerned with would have to come back as a special use permit anyway.
Okay. That's all that I have. I don't have any other questions.
So just to ease my mind a little bit here, so this whole parcel is not going to be split up. So
Mm-mm.
whatever's going to be done with it's going to take the entire property.
Part of this parcel is already being used by Fowler's Nursery. And that will not change because that's already a commercial
Right.
thing. It's only the part that is currently vacant that will be used for a new commercial business. But it will still stay as the one entire tract of land. They're not subdividing it later
All right, with
that I'm aware of.
knowing how we feel about and the trust and everything that we certainly put in you, Wendy, and what we read tonight and the way you've explained our questions. I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion that we recommend approval of rezone from agricultural to commercial C70 and acknowledgement of the rezone being inconsistent with the future land use map based on previously mentioned item.
And might add, sorry,
Go ahead, Ed.
before you go further, that if you are moving to approve, that you consider adopting, including in your motion, an adoption of the statement of consistency and reasonableness that's set forth in your staff report and any other basis for reasonableness that you might want to add.
So mentioned.
They could.
So before we vote, so if this is like subdivided up, does it have to go back to you?
Yes,
So what we're voting on right now is to approve the whole plot except for what he's using for Fowler's.
yes.
Just, I think some people couldn't hear me. I recommended that he make part of his motion, if he was going to approve it, that the motion include adoption of the statement of consistency and reasonableness and any other factors that you might want to add in it that you deem to be in favor of approving the rezone.
All right, then I'll just add to my motion that we include the adoption of the statement of reasonableness, and there was another phrase in there, consistency. Is that sufficient, Counselor?
It is.
All right,
Okay, we have a motion to. Okay, I'm sorry. Wait, we're out of order. My clerk just informed me. Okay, Wendy, do you have anything else?
All right.
Okay, do y'all have any more questions? I closed the public hearing. Now, Mr. McGowan, would you make your
I
motion
gotta
one
go
more
through it
time?
again. All right, so I make a motion that we recommend the approval of rezone from agricultural to commercial C70 and acknowledgement of the rezone being inconsistent with the future land use map based on previously mentioned item to include adoption of the statement of consistency and reasonableness.
Okay, David McGowan made the motion. J.C. Trippett seconded. Do we have any more discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Rezone is taking place. Now, we're going to skip the next item on the agenda. We have our clerk is going to take her official oath of office. She's gonna be real now. She's gonna turn the camera.
Oh, yeah.
Mayor, if I may,
You may.
we watched Emily come to Wilson's Mills as an administrative assistant years ago, and we've always enjoyed everything that she's done. And then she launched herself on this path to become a highly respected town clerk. And it's wonderful for all of us to see you achieve that goal that you set for yourself. So thank you, Emily. We're proud.
Now you got to go to work. You know that. Okay. Just so you know that. I open the first open forum. Anyone wishing to address council, please come forward. Limit your comments to 3 minutes. Since no one wishes to come forward, I will close the first open forum. And it's time for me to make my comments. I'd just like to inform you of some of the meetings that I have been involved in this month. Leanna and I attended the ribbon cutting for the Cloud Bed and Biscuit, which is a new dog they're boarding only right now on Turnage Road. And that was a real good experience. I really enjoyed talking to them. Leanna and I also attended the steering committee meeting for the Water and Sewer Authority for Johnston County and the municipalities. And we learned a lot and are continuing to grow and understand what's being planned in the county. I attended a class in Durham to tell me how to run a meeting. Maybe I'll do it right from now on. No, it was put on by the League of Municipalities, and it was a very good meeting. It was very informal, but they gave us a lot of interesting things. And one thing they told me was to sit real close to my attorney, to be sure that I listened to the attorney and made sure that that we kept our meetings ran correctly, that we didn't have a lot of unnecessary stuff in our meetings. And I thought that was a good advice. But I also attended this month's mayor's meeting in Princeton, and we had the opportunity to meet with Representative Larry Strickland, telling us the things that he had accomplished this past term in the legislature. And also the two representatives from the league was at that meeting, and Representative Strickland and the members from the league talked to us about how, as towns, they have to know what we need, what we want, or they can't go to legislature and get funds for us. And so the main thing that we have to do is we have to be assured we talk with Leanna, know what the town needs, what the town wants, so that we can present this to these people so that they can lobby in our Senate and representatives to get us the money that we need. And that was very informative. So he told us, Leanna, that we need to have another wish list by January, because he would probably be contacting us after the first of the year. We've already got one, but we'll just pass it on to him. But that's what I've been doing this month, and just trying to further my education on how to help the town. So that's all I have. Well, Miss Worley, you are on the agenda tonight.
And I told Emily when she was making the agenda that I either have nothing or I have like 50. So
got a lot.
just hang in there with me. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep. Just
The
kidding.
first item is the 2024 holiday schedule. Nothing has changed. We still follow the state's holiday schedule. So that is the first item for approval.
Does anybody have any questions about the schedule? I mean, like Leanna said, we try to follow what the state recommends. And it's worked out good in the past.
You need a motion, Mayor?
Yes,
Yes.
we need a motion.
Make a motion, we approve the 2024 holiday schedule as presented.
David McGowan made the motion to approve the holiday schedule. Councilman Dobbin seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
The next item is the approval of the 2024 dates and times for council and planning board meetings. That's also in your packet. The only change for 2024, besides the third Monday for council and the fourth Monday for planning board, is there are two changes actually. I'm sorry. The January meeting would have been on a holiday, Monday, January 15th, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and we're requesting that to be Wednesday. Normally you do that on Tuesday, but that gives staff another day to be able to prepare for the meeting. So if anyone doesn't have any conflicts by doing that on Wednesday, January 17th, and then Labor Day, no, there was one more. Memorial Day, sorry. Memorial Day is Monday, May 27th, so the planning board meeting would be Tuesday, May 28th. Those are the only differences in the third and the fourth Mondays. So if no one has any questions, we would just request that you vote to approve these schedules.
Make a motion that we approve the meeting schedule for the town council and the planning board as proposed.
Councilman Trippett made the motion to approve the scheduled meetings and Councilman McGowan seconded. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Just a note on the planning board schedule. The last meeting in 24, December 23rd is actually a Monday, and it is Monday, the 23rd. That's just a typo. It should not say Thursday. It should just say Monday,
I know that.
December
I
23rd.
already
But
checked
the
it.
date, the fourth Monday is
Yeah.
the same. Okay. The next item is Central Pines Board Delegate and Alternate. And I included in your packet an email from Lee Worsley, the Director of Central Pines. And it was regarding this year being an election year. And so there being several openings. And even though our two that were incumbents that were elected were not on this list, he wanted everybody to kind of refresh who is appointed as a delegate and an alternate for the board. Right now, David McGowan still serves as a delegate, but the council would need to vote to reappoint him if he wishes to continue on that. And then we also need to fill the vacancy for the alternate. And as far as the information on the board meetings, that was included in your packet, some information from Lee Worsley or Mr. McGowan, if you've got anything that you'd like to add, since you've been attending these meetings for a couple of years, or discussion about who you'd like to appoint.
Yeah, I would just like to say that, I would prefer not being on the council that council this year, the Council of Governments for Central Pines. I think it's time for someone else to step up perhaps and take that. It's very simple. It doesn't require a lot. It used to be that the meetings were held in person up in the Raleigh area. And now with COVID being fairly well behind us, they are, holding the meetings in person, but you also have the, virtual option, which I have been opting to do. I don't want to drive up there at night anymore and come back at night, so I will stay at home. I have stayed at home and attended the meetings virtually, so whoever would like to take it and has a burning desire to do something besides just coming to these meetings once a month, to step up and take that from me, I would be more than happy. If I had to, I would be the alternate, but I would like someone else to be the delegate and take that horse or that little pony by its reins. Don't everybody jump up at once. All right, we do attend one meeting a month, and that's here. Approximately an hour and a half. And I think it's time for someone else to say, you know what, I'm gonna do something else besides come to these meetings.
Does anyone want to volunteer?
Sure is quiet. So that's the response.
Mayor,
Seriously, that's the response. That's what we get. No one else wants to do an hour meeting once a month.
Well, if you
And
serve as alternate, I'll be the
No,
delegate.
you don't need to, Mary.
I
You-
know I don't,
You
but-
do about 10 or 12 meetings a month. I will not accept that.
But
No.
we need somebody that's,
Yeah, I know. It's,
Well, maybe I'm the only one that's ignorant to exactly what goes on. What is our, this, because they renamed it, I do remember that.
central. Pines.
Maybe somebody can give us some, I mean, maybe I guess I'm the newest one up here, but I don't know what it's about. I have no idea.
it used to be called up until a couple of months ago, the Triangle J Council of Governments. The Council of Governments is voluntary membership from municipalities. That's mayor's. It's municipalities within the central part of North Carolina. And they're all, they pay money, they become a member of it, and we utilize their services. And if I call it TJ Cog, please ignore that. But they are an actual government entity, just like we are. Okay, and they work with the state. They do a lot of very, very good work, and they have a staff now of about 55 people. We have used some of the services that they perform when we do our 5-year plans and things like that, and they come out and they talk to us. You don't have to do a lot. You just attend the meeting, you're part of the quorum, and you keep up to date on the stuff that's happening. A lot of stuff that's happening doesn't pertain to us. But you still need to be advised and be aware of it. There are, if I'm correct, there are 16 councils of government within North Carolina. Central Pines is but one, but it's probably the most active and the most aggressive, and they work very closely with the government in Raleigh. You don't have to do any of that stuff. They give you the opportunity to go to some of those meetings, but you certainly don't have to. You attend the meeting, you on your computer, you listen to them, you vote. Wilson's Mills present, and when they need a vote, you vote. And that's pretty much it. It's very, very simple. I can do it again. If need be, I'll do it
This-
again.
This can also, Leanna,
Well, I do want to note that I think you are correct that during COVID, they allowed it to be virtually or hybrid. The Board of Delegates meetings now are all in person. It's the executive committee that is held virtually.
I've been doing virtual.
And
Yeah.
I think it may be that that's changing in
Yes.
24 because that's on the schedule.
yes,
But
yes.
so on their schedule, it does say, please note, the fourth Wednesday,
Hmm.
Board of Delegates, all meetings will be in person, either at Central Pines office or on site at one of the local governments. So I think they're gonna change
Change.
the location around, and then, because they serve dinner, that's the Board of Delegates. Now, the Executive Committee they meet 5 times annually, and that includes the delegate from all member counties and the delegate from one municipality in each county. So the executive committee, the executive members may not necessarily be anyone from this, because that switches. So like
Right.
all of the towns in Johnston County that are a
Would not be.
member, yeah, it
Right.
jumps around. So, but they are in
So
person.
from here on out, you've got to attend the meeting in person.
And I do not think it has to be an elected official.
That's correct.
I think that a staff member could do this.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, it would be something that I'm back clear as mud, and I heard what you said on, as far as the time for it there. But, I hesitate because I don't know if it's in person, if I could be there. If I'm out working, I can jump on, online.
When I hear it's now in person, I kind of mentally ruled you out because I know your business. And I know you can't do it, and I know you're working. Hi, Carolyn.
Question before you go responding here. I know you're chomping at the bit to respond to it, but is there a reason why there's so many vacancies? I go through this list, and I mean, there's
Because
towns in Johnson
this was
County.
an election year. So they put everybody vacant that was on the board as a delegate or an alternate that was up for election. So
In
whether
case
they
they were
won or
not
not,
filled.
they listed it as vacant because they have to know who
I
got
see,
who
I
won the
see.
election.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people that, and it's a meeting that, you think, well, they're never going to discuss anything that's going to pertain into us, but they do.
Mhm.
Because every once in a while, something comes up that concerns Johnston County, concerns Wilson Mills, concerns how we get our funding and where things are going to go. So we need somebody on this council to be present, to be at the meetings, to be on live, whatever, how we can do it. So that if something comes up and funds are available so that we can tack into them, we're there. So
No,
No.
no.
they're not.
They start
Would
at
you-
6 p.m.
Would you be it?
No,
I mean, yeah, because there are a lot of staff members also, but if that is up to the board. I mean, I don't mind, I would definitely need an alternate just for personal reasons. It's in the evening, so there may be times when I need to call on somebody else, but
Well, I would serve as your alternate. I
completely
mean,
up to the board. So.
It's
Is
in
it
the
not?
evening,
in
six
the
is
PM.
it not?
Yep.
Well, if it
Well,
was,
that's something new, and
Yeah.
that does not make me real happy if it's going to rotate around
Well, that's
and
the,
the next meeting is down in Sanford and I got to come back from Sanford at night. That does
maybe.
not make me happy. I think it's a very poor decision on. Yeah, yeah, I'm not,
and that,
I'm,
that
Well-
doesn't happen
yeah, I don't,
all the time. I think they just give the opportunity if somebody's got something going on. Say
Yeah.
like when we get our council chambers upfitted and we want to have one of the meetings at ours to
show
have
off
an
our kind of
open
stuff.
house, if you will, for all of the members of the Central Pines. I'm just using that as an example. It's not like every meeting is going to be somewhere else. Every now and then they will allow it to be on site at one of the members' facilities.
all right, I don't see a whole lot of interest. I don't think, I would not agree with the mayor being the delegate. And I would not agree with any of the staff members being the delegate. They work hard enough and then to go up there for another meeting. I don't see a lot of interest here. I know you're out, you're probably out too, Carolyn. I don't see any interest whatsoever, so I'll take it.
Well, I just want to say, I'm on the economic development.
Mhm.
And our meetings, when we have them every other month, but they're 3-hour meetings.
Yeah.
And I have to be off work that day.
Right.
Sometimes I have to work that day, but I always tell them, I've got, the meeting starts at 11:30 and you're lucky to get out of it at 2:30.
Yeah.
I mean, so, you know, the one that I'm on just takes
A long
probably
time.
a long time.
That's fine. Go ahead. Make
Well,
the
I mean, I'll tell
nomination.
you what I will do. I'll be the alternate.
That's
but-
fine.
But I'm not gonna, I can't be the delegate. Now, if
I-
nobody, if you,
No.
if something happens and nobody, you can't go,
I tell you
I
what,
can do it.
I'll volunteer to be the alternate. And I might even go with you.
That's fine. They do serve a nice dinner. I'd like to see, what I'd like to see is some more interest from council members to do something besides coming here for an hour and a half every month, collecting $150 at the end of the month and that's it. Don't worry about a thing. I just want to see somebody step up like you're doing and say, you know, I could do something else. I can do it.
I mean, I'll be the alternate but with that said, I may just go with you and be the alternate and
That's
delegate
fine.
together.
Well, and so,
And-
if something happens, you can't be the alternate. And I probably, the first meeting, if I'm the alternate, I'm probably gonna wanna go with it, because I do wanna see what's happening.
Right.
The reason I don't want to do the other one is because my meetings, those economic development meetings are 3 hours long most of the time.
Okay, well, you all understand where I come from and how I feel about participating. So I welcome your standing up for that and go ahead and somebody nominate me and I'll go ahead and go with it.
Okay, so we need a nomination.
And and I will just say this too, it's not a term. If you, as Mr. Brown is the alternate, if you start going and you see that it's something that you can do, you can bring it back to council and we can vote you as the delegate and somebody else as an alternate or vice versa. So
So
it's not a term. You
Yeah,
can come back
you
and change your
right.
delegate and alternate as needed.
they just want
They
somebody to
just
be
need
there.
somebody appointed as.
I'll nominate David McGowan to be our, representative to the Pines,
Central Pines.
Central Pines Regional Council. And I recommend, nominate, Tim Brown to be our alternate to the Central Pines Regional Council.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Uh,
Okay, any opposed? I did find out at my meeting when I went to Durham the other day. Did you know you don't have to have a second?
no. you're
No.
right.
You do not.
No, you do not.
You do
I
not.
knew that.
You can go to the vote with just a nominate, I mean, just a,
I knew that.
it's not mine, it's Ellie.
I knew
No,
that.
it is Robert.
I knew that.
Yeah, I found that out, so. Okay,
The next item is a resolution supporting the Water and Sewer Authority in Johnston County. You all did review this in May at your meeting and appointed David McGowan and Randy Jernigan as delegate and alternate to that committee. And since there have been a few of those committee meetings, we wanted to bring that back to have that revisited because the discussions at these meetings are ongoing, both with the Mayor's Association and the managers of Johnston County in our monthly meetings. And just wanted to see if you all wanted to change those since we're going to those meetings anyway. Because they need to have a resolution in place for us. Be glad to answer any questions
Well,
for the mayor.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Mayor Byrd to be on the steering committee as a delegate and Miss Worley as the alternate.
I second.
So before we vote, I have a question here. It says that, supporting, so we, last time I remember us talking about this, we were just agreeing to be a part of it.
that's
So-
what we're still doing.
So, okay, so we're just, okay, so we're just going to, just still supporting this faction
The research,
of doing research.
right?
This is a steering committee.
Not to be a part of the
No.
authority.
All right, I just wanted to make sure that,
No,
that
that's
we were
correct.
not guaranteeing that we're a part, because
No.
like I said before, I don't want to harm anything that we're already in with the county now.
This is just a steering committee to try to look into and get the information together. And it's getting,
Well, I just heard
Very-
resolution.
yeah.
When I think resolution, we're binding. That's the resolution is
no, this is
to me
just a
binding.
resolution to be a part of this steering committee. And it's the language is getting more complicated. So Leanne, they're asking questions that Leanna needs to be there to answer.
If you focus on the last page where it says, be it resolved, this is what you're resolving, is that you support the research for the development of this water and sewer authority. And it says Triangle J, of course, that's Central Pines now. They're facilitating this steering committee, which I think the committee's doing more, no, they're doing more than the COG is doing actually, but, and that you are saying that the steering committee would include an official from your community. So it is not, that would come much later once the steering committee finishes the research and decides.
To do something.
Yeah.
3 of them.
Leanna, just a quick question. I haven't compared this to the one that was adopted in May, but it appears to me that this is the exact same resolution that was already adopted in May, just
Change.
generally supporting the development
Yes.
and,
It is.
and appointing delegates. You just changing your delegates, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so we have a motion to change the delegate to the mayor and to change the alternate to our administrator, Leanna. Do I have a second? Oh, you did? Okay, I didn't hear you. So Councilman Trippett made the motion. Councilman McGowan made the second. All in favor? All opposed? Okay,
The next item is, I gave you a draft copy of a policy to address the question that we've had a few months about people who have purchased taps that are no longer usable. And I just do want to make this clear for any of the public as well, that this does not include residential taps that maybe a former property owner has purchased and you just feel like you don't want it because these taps do follow the property, this is a situation where once that property begins to be developed, those taps could not be used for any number of reasons. So I just want to make that clear. That's what this policy is for. And this is a draft copy that the attorney sent. I just wanted you to have a chance to look over it and would prefer that you not vote on it tonight. Just look over it. Let us know if you have any changes. I would prefer to change the name of this policy because we are not waiving a connection fee. Anybody who has a tap already has paid that tap fee. This would be waiving the monthly fee that they have to pay for the tap until they connect to sewer service. And if the tap is not usable, then we would be waiving that monthly fee because they're doing something different on the property. And again, this
Yeah.
is not just your standard residential. That's not going to be the case, but some of them may be a case by case situation, but just want to make that clear.
Does anybody have any question for Leanna on the wording of this or? Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah,
have to.
yeah. The attorney and I will talk about a better name. And if you look over it over the next couple of weeks and see any of this that's concerning, or we're kind of going to hash this out a little more, but I just wanted you to be able to have a copy of it to see if anything sparked a question or anybody has any
Do-
additions that you feel like need to be made to it.
Do we need to put something in here that it does not pertain to standard residential? I mean,
Doesn't specifically state that, but by its inclusion
of
of
commercial.
specific uses, it excludes residential.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Couple of updates. The council chamber upfit, the RFQ that was sent out for architect and design was sent out as a design build, which means it would start with the architect, go through engineering, bid out for all the construction portions of it. We did not receive any any submissions back for those qualifications. We've got probably 4 or 5 other recommended architects that people have said maybe send it to them, so we're going to send it back out after Thanksgiving. But again, this is a small job in the scheme of what's going on around the country with construction. So a lot of people on these design builds are just not coming back with responses on these. So if we do not get a response on the second try, then we will have to piece it out. We'll have to bid out for an architect, bid out for an engineer, and then bid out for the construction portions of it. But we would prefer that this be a design build because of the way that the county is requiring certain things with this being a public building and it's having the room is large enough that there's a lot of specifics that have to be worked through with fire code and the one door that's in there, things such as that. So that's why we really wanted to send it out as a design build. But if we don't get anything back, then that's how we're going to start bidding it out. So I'll keep you updated.
So that's the reason that we're getting engineering involved and,
Absolutely. Architect first, then engineering, and then the construction portion of it has to go out. That's a requirement.
Because the county said we have to have this and this, and so we got to have.
yeah, but I'm just thinking there's not a contractor that knows the codes. I mean, it
Well,
would
it
be,
has
I
to
mean, to me, it'd be, I mean,
The plan has to be signed off by an architect because of the way that because of the square footage for one thing, and it being a public building. And this is what we're getting from Johnston County Inspection. This is not something we're just trying to do. This is what we have to do because Johnston County Inspections is telling us this is the way you have to do it. It's not just a small job that you find a friend that you can do for you. I wish that it was.
when it's not a large job, but I
No.
think you better get ready to piece it out because
We are.
these design build folks design and build buildings.
I know.
They
big
don't
buildings.
go in and and remodel. I mean,
We're
that,
getting-
and
we're
that's
getting a lot of good
basically what we're
contacts
talking
for our
about
police
doing.
Department though.
Do what?
I said, we're getting a lot of good contacts for when we do our police department.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's. We may have to because of the square footage in that room. And that's what we've been talking with the county about. So we're following the county's direction on all of this.
Leanna, can we be a little, like what Tim was talking about? The odds are stacked against us for getting a design build firm. And that's, to do all that, we won't know until what, another 2-3 months down the line?
What, sending it back out again?
Yeah.
No, we wouldn't wait that long. We would only give them a couple of weeks to respond. And
Okay,
then if
so,
they didn't
so if we
respond,
just cut it short
We're
and
just-
say
yeah.
we're gonna go with the contractor for each one, we're not
Exactly.
saving a lot of time then.
no.
Cause I'd say cut to the chase, but if it's only a couple of weeks, let's see what happens.
Yeah,
And I would just say, and I don't have, I don't have a lot of time, but if we need to reach out to some of these contractors to remodel that area, build a stage or I don't know what the plans are. That we got some good contractors, locally in the county that I think could do it. And
We
work.
got to get the architect first, so. Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
And then you can go to the contractor after you get the
I think that's
architect.
what he's saying,
Yeah.
after, we do need
Yeah.
an architect, but once we get past that hurdle, rather than wait for somebody that's willing to come in, let's look at local contractors, keep
Yeah.
the business local, but
Oh,
qualified,
right.
Yeah.
highly qualified.
Yeah.
I'm just curious on the, why they're requiring so much. I mean,
I can get something from the county and
I
send
mean-
it to you all if you want, because I want to make sure that you understand that again, we are following what the county is telling us that we
Yeah.
have to do. And it has to do with the fact that it's a public building, it's a public meeting space. And the size of that room will determine whether or not we're required to do certain things or whether we want to build a wall, make that part smaller. There's a lot to it. I mean, we had the inspector and the fire marshal out and they've given us direction on how we need to handle this. So this is how we're doing it.
and
But if we do wind up having to bid it out separately, then absolutely, when we get to the construction part, that's what we try to do is send it to local people because we would much prefer somebody locally to be able to do the work, win the bid and do the work.
And the
that's what we
main
would
thing
do.
is that since they have told us what to do, they're gonna be inspecting it.
Right.
And so if we do not
don't have a
meet their
choice.
requirements, then we're defeating our purpose.
Yeah, I
it-
mean, I don't doubt at all that that's
Yeah.
what they're requiring. I'm just a little confused on architectural design.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I'm
They
I'm
have a
very
lot of that.
confused why the county would want us to do that, but I guess if they say we gotta do it, we gotta do it, but.
Anything else, Leanna?
The branding and logo RFQ will be going out next week, and I don't expect that to take very long either. We've already got about 4 people that are excited about sending in their qualifications because we've discussed the project with them in the area, so looking forward to getting something back on that. And I did just want to tell you real quick, this is not on the agenda, but the county contacted me this past week. There was a resolution regarding some erosion and sediment control enforcement that we signed with the county back in 2014. And this was to allow the county to do that work when we have development here for town. We were contacted by the county because they have those agreements with us, Archer Lodge, Benson, and Pine Level. And right now, the state auditor is coming to the county saying that they don't really have the staff to do this. They're going to have to hire more staff to meet the timeline requirements from the state. So basically what I'm telling you is that we're just going to end up turning this back over to the state because they can do it cheaper and they can do it on time. So the county is requesting to end this contract with all of these towns, and they're given the 4-month notice that is in the agreement that was approved back in 2014. And it's honestly going to be better for everybody, for us, for the county, for
Yeah,
the
if the count,
developers,
if the state's
and cheaper.
cheaper,
So,
yeah.
will probably be, well, there won't be anything for you to approve, but I'll send you the notice. They're just gonna send us a letter saying that in 4 months they want to do away with this agreement. And then rather than calling the county, when Wendy gets something in, we'll just call the state like we were doing before this agreement was ever even put into place.
So is that like when they put up the silt fence around subdivisions? Is that what you're talking about?
That's part of it.
Yeah.
I
Stuff
mean,
like that. So what was happening was the state was doing it. And then the county said, well, we can do it. And it's just, it was probably quicker in 2014. Well, now it's not because there's so much development. The county doesn't have the staff. And their turnaround time is not what the state is wanting to see. So,
Anything else?
no, that is all I have.
Ms. Sherry, Finance Officer.
Evening, council. In your packets, you have the October, finance. Yeah, report. That's my wording. Do you have any questions? I will be doing a budget amendment and presenting it at our January meeting. So just look forward to that, to clean up some of these line items that are already in a negative. So. No questions?
Anyone have? Okay.
Public Works. Maintenance, building and grounds,
Yes,
684%.
yes, that consists of, Mr. Brown, of everything that we're doing at the town hall now, any kind of maintenance that we put, that goes on in town hall, any kind of maintenance that happens at the campus where we're located, all the expenditures goes in that line item. Patrick was in my office this morning, asking questions on some of his line items, and I explained to him. And we didn't know this at the time, whenever we were doing budgeting, that things were gonna be like they are. I mean, we knew that there was gonna be some like maintenance and things of this nature that we have to do, but we didn't know to what extent. And so whenever I do my budget amendment in January, this is a line item on play close attention to and go forth with that and increase that line item.
I'm gonna ask a question. Do you have to put everything maintenance wise in that one line item? Is that,
For the building and grounds,
yeah,
I mean, maintenance to the building
okay.
and grounds.
We can get you a report of that line item so that you can see what it is that we're taking out, but a lot of it has to do with it being the new building and things that we're having to
Oh,
do to
the
get
inside.
started to
Okay.
get it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So,
Well,
but
I-
before you do the budget amendment, she can get you a report of what's been spent in that line, so
Right,
you see
exactly.
what this amount is for.
Well, I know part of it was like the grounds, the mulch, to make it look, presentable.
Well-
And I don't think anybody would have a problem with it. you know.
What, and also in that line item, there is like, we did a pest control contract. And that just like, that immediately, cause it's not but listed at what, $1,000? And that one invoice was like almost 2,000. And so I just went ahead and paid it in full instead of making a monthly payment on it. And so that's the reason why and then we had the boring up at the end of the driveway for the lights to work on the
Sign.
signs. And so there's a lot of being
See, that's what
undertaken.
I was wondering, if maybe there was some other line item that some of that stuff needed to be put in instead of putting all of it in maintenance of building and grounds, but I guess that's the only line item it can be put.
Yeah,
Right.
because that's what the expenditure
Right.
is. The
Exactly.
budget amendment will move the money that we had for expenses at the new town hall
Mhm.
into
that.
that
Okay, that's where
revenue
the
so
money's
that it
gonna
can
come
be-
from.
Right.
Right,
But
Okay,
you have to expend it out of the line for what
Okay.
it really is.
okay.
right.
I understand what you're saying now. The money that we had approved for the repair, maintenance, for the repairs at the new property will be, that's what it'd be coming from.
Right.
Mhm.
Correct.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay. That's what I was wondering, why we're putting it all in that one item.
Right.
Okay. Anyone else have anything for Sherry? Thank you for the job you do.
Thank you, Town Council, and happy Thanksgiving to you.
Wendy, planning and zoning.
You have the planning report in front of you. Has the activity that our department has done for the month of October. Not a lot of changes on the subdivisions. Mill Creek, I've just heard from that developer. He's actually has some contractors hired to work on the punch list items. Wilson's Walk is building. They have new construction going on over there.
Yeah.
So does Olive Branch. I would like to say that for Olive Branch, Wilson's Walk, and Crescent Mills, we have gotten their amenity plans in. And what they're planning in their neighborhoods is going to be great for those neighborhoods. No change on Midtown Village. I'm still meeting. We're trying to get a couple of other people involved with that. The more we can have come together on that, the more we may be able to build more of what the citizens and the council has said they wanted. Easton Creek, they have begun construction. There's a couple of foundations out there. And then it stops. I don't know if it's supplies. I've not heard from him on that.
They're working out there again, so.
Are they?
Yeah.
We talked about Crescent Mills. They've been approved. They're installing streets. They're installing infrastructure. They're moving right on along with everything out there rather quickly. Willis Crossing has started grading and getting ready to put their road in there by the railroad track on Wilson Mills Road. Sutherland Mills, I talked with him last week and they are fixing to do their final submittal to me, which will include all of their approvals that they've had to have from the state and FEMA on that. Waterview Way and Marlin Lane has been approved, but now the engineer's involved in it. And there's a concern the engineer has. So he's working with them on getting that straight, but there should be groundbreaking out there after the first of the year for Waterview Way. Still working on Johnston Farms Phase 3. Wilson's Ridge, which is right beside Town Hall. They're still working over there. They've got their stormwater ponds pretty much constructed at this point. And when I went by there tonight, it looked like they're cutting the roads out headed toward the back with some of those. The Toller property, Brad Gordon's project up across from Poplar Creek. I did get plans in on that. He is building, when you go in, what will be the new driveway on the right will be storage units, but it's not your small residential storage units. It's more boats, RVs, things that can't stay in our neighborhoods because of HOA requirements and covenants. So he's trying to build a place that all of that can go to keep our neighborhoods clean.
How much of that, Wendy, will be visible from Route 70? Well, the new 42.
With the buffer that he's planning on putting up there shouldn't be a lot of it visible. But one thing that we're also working with is there's a Duke Energy easement right there for those power lines. and he can't plant under those.
Right.
So we're trying to work through all of that. And then Cobalt Towns are the townhomes out beside, East Hampton. And they're still waiting on sewer to move forward with that.
Wendy, if we could go back to the cottages at Wilson's Mills. Before this meeting tonight, we were discussing some things. How much of that are you at liberty to say tonight with respect to?
I've tried to get in touch with the developer for the cottages
Let me go back right
with
there.
no luck,
You said tried, so it's no luck. Are
right?
we talking H&H?
No, this one is Hoosier Daddy.
Who? Oh, Hoosier? I thought
Hoosier.
Hoosier, they bought the property from H&H. They cleared it, they got it set up for building, and then they sold parcels back to H&H and the other one.
But Hoosier is still responsible for the development
Okay,
portion, the overall development.
so those
out
nice
there.
folks at Hoosier are not responding to you?
I've not been able to get in
Out of-
touch
out
with
of
Mr.
Wilmington?
Carlisle.
I-
So I do have a plan in place to send out a letter. We do still have a bond in place with them. So if there's no response from the letter, then we do have the bond to back us up to be able to complete what needs to be done out there. The residents are not happy. I'm surprised we don't have some here tonight because I've had quite a few in my office recently. Just a lot going on out there. I'm honestly, as planning director, I'm very disappointed in
Well, you-
how that
you
has
say there's
turned
a
out.
lot going on out there, but it sounds like there's nothing going on out there.
Exactly.
A lot of nothing.
A lot of nothing. Hmm.
Yeah, they, as you know, I've dealt with Hoosier back in the very beginning, and yeah, no more comments on her or them. I shouldn't say her. Yeah, Hoosier Daddy. Yeah, they're out of Wilmington, but literally Daddy owns it up out of, where is it, Garner or someplace?
Fedville.
Where?
Fedville.
Federal, okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's very disappointing. So what you're saying then is you're giving them how long again?
Until the end of the year, till
until
December 31st.
And then we can dip into the bond, and the bond is how much? One and a
That I
half?
do not remember. And before I do that, though, I will have to consult with council to make
Right.
sure we do things the right way on that, because this would be the first time that we've had to do that.
Out of curiosity, let's say, just for argument's sake, because I remember the number of an even mill, but it may even been 1.5. I'm not sure. But let's say we do have to dip into this and start doing some things, the fencing around, you know what I'm talking about,
Mhm.
and all the other stuff, and cleaning out the sewer lines. If that comes to something like only 80% of the bond, do we have to give the remainder of that bond back to them?
That's the council question.
You
On
understand what
the
I'm
bond,
saying?
yeah, you wouldn't really even take the full amount of the bond and then pay, and then spend it. You would just, you would incur expenses and then you would draw that down from the bond. So if you didn't use up the entire bond, then absolutely, you wouldn't be entitled to the remainder of it.
We would not be entitled, so we have to give it back to them and say,
It's not really theirs, to be frank.
well, it's the
the
insurance
bank's.
company,
Yeah.
right, but,
Mm.
but pretty much they can walk away free and clear. Well, they'll lose a little bit, not much, and they don't care about reputation, that's obvious, so.
Yeah, you
Wow.
couldn't
Now-
seek the remainder of it as a penalty or anything like that.
When we did get the bond, it was at 125%
Right,
of what the projected cost was at that time.
right,
This goes back to 2020.
right. I don't see this as a win-win situation for us or for the residents perhaps, but not us. Not that I'm looking for a win. That's not the point I'm trying to make.
We're looking a resolution.
Yeah, a resolution that we don't get stuck with something. All right.
Yeah.
Well, they do disappoint me, and just for the record, once again, ladies and gentlemen, it's Hoosier Daddy that's doing the stuff.
So Wendy, just so that I understand, in my little mind, so we we have this bond.
Mhm.
So if they don't comply, this developer HOA doesn't comply with the rules that were set forth, then we tap into that bond to make sure that these things are completed.
Okay, for the record, it's not the HOA, it's the developer.
Okay.
Um, there was specific items listed on that bond with dollar amounts at the time.
Mhm.
If those items are not completed timely, and we do have to tap into that bond, we can go down that list to fix everything that needs to be fixed. I honestly
And-
don't
but We're
remember
not paying for it. The town's not paying for it. It comes out of that
the
bond.
bonding, right,
Correct. Okay.
right.
Bonding co-
And if, and I'm, while I got it on my mind, so I understood what council said. But at 20, what'd you say, 2021 levels, that
2020.
2020 price levels, if it goes up 10%, 15, we know everything's going up. So if it goes up and that doesn't, that all those things still does not exceed and falls within the parameters of that amount of money, can we not use, if it's a $20,000 project, it was 24,000 now, can we not use 24,000 out of that bond?
Have to read the language in
Okay.
the bond and check, see what conditions we're in. And I wouldn't,
Okay.
I wouldn't know for sure
Fair.
without looking at it.
Any other questions on any of that?
Anybody have anything else?
I do, Wendy. It doesn't have anything to do with a lot. This is in general. How are your efforts progressing with respect to various HOAs and allowing a member of your staff to go in and sit in on one or two of their meetings and answering questions for them? Because they're winding up in your office.
We have sent letters out, and my understanding is Chief is reaching out to some of those contacts again. I have spoken with some of them. The problem is a lot of them are only having annual meetings now. And part of them are just virtual meetings. They're not in person. So we're still trying to work through all of that to figure out which way is going to be better. But I mean, it's still out there. If there's any HOAs or organizations that are listening that would like to have someone from planning or police department or anyone from the town go out and speak to your HOA, if you'll call in and let us know, we'll be there. We'll be there. We want to be able to help educate people and answer their questions so they can enjoy their communities like they were hoping to when they moved in those.
Anyone have any other question? Okay, thank you, Wendy.
Okay,
Yeah.
we also have a request for council action. The current property owner has requested a conditional rezone of property located at the end of Jones Road and behind Johnston Farms on Johnston Farms Drive, containing approximately 149.984 acres, being parcel numbers 17K08026L and 17K08026, from ag to mixed use conditional rezone. Per North Carolina General Statute 160D-602, a public hearing must be called and held prior to a vote by the town council. Please call for a public hearing on the potential conditional rezone at end of Jones Road and Johnston Farms Drive, containing 149.984 acres, being parcels 17K08026L and 17K08026, from ag to mixed use conditional rezone at the December 18th, 2023 town council meeting.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion that we call a public hearing on this, land. Do I need to read all those numbers again?
Yeah.
You can make the motion to call the public hearing as
Okay.
described by you.
Okay, I
Plan
make a
director.
motion to have, call for a public hearing on the rezoning of the end of Jones Road and Johnson Farm Road on December the 18th, 2023. Town Council meeting.
Councilman Triplett made the motion to call for the public hearing for the rezone of this property. Council Dobbin made the second. All those in favor? All opposed? Okay. So we will put this on the agenda for December. Thank you,
Thank
Wendy. Thanks.
Kristen, can you tell me what mixed use conditional rezone is?
Can you call me and we can just either discuss it or come
Absolutely.
see me?
Absolutely.
Emily? Well, she's here as our events coordinator.
Oh,
Yes, she is.
so we are getting ready for Tinsel Tree Lane, full steam ahead. So excited for Christmas. After we get through Thanksgiving this week, we will really be focusing on it. We are moving it. Well, it's going to be on December 1st. So next Friday, we are moving it from the police department to the Newtown Hall campus. And Miss Worley has more in.
We have a water leak at the police department. And we have been in contact with the county and 3 different plumbers. So we've gotten 2 second opinions, and it's not on the county side. There's a leak in the line between the driveway and the road. That line needs to be replaced. We don't know exactly where the leak is, but it is pouring out close to 20,000 gallons a month. So, our concern is that that water's going somewhere, and that area out there is already soft, and we worry about a sinkhole with the trees out there and people walking, all the foot traffic, because we already have 11 trees and several vendors and food trucks. So we're going to move it to the Newtown Hall campus. It will also, where it's being set up at the Newtown Hall campus, those will be visible from Highway 70.
And as she said, we do have 11 trees, 15 vendors, 2 food trucks. Santa's coming. We've got all the activities we had last year, letters to Santa, making reindeer food, all that stuff. So please come out and spread the word that it has moved so that we can kind of get that out there, because word of mouth is the best. And we are already getting a few applications in for our community market next year. So pretty excited.
Very good. I'm sorry we have to move it because I liked it where it was, but I'm glad that we can move it, that we have a location we can put it in. Okay, Chief Williams.
Hear me? Good evening. Your council, the police department information is in your council packet. If you got any questions.
Not a question, but a comment. Very happy to see 235 vehicle stops. Now, Councilman Brown and myself are looking at one number here and we're very concerned about that, which you can't do anything about, but out of 10 arrests, 6 of them were DWIs.
Yeah, we have
A
gone
lot
up with DWIs last
A
year.
lot of drunk drivers out there.
It's steadily going up every year.
Pardon me?
It's steadily going up every year. This is by far our most since I've been here.
Okay. Yeah, again, I'm very happy, 235 car stops. That's very nice. I remember back when we used to have 12 a month. We've moved along considerably. So when are the new Durango SUVs, when will they be wrapped and ready?
They're currently being upfitted now.
Clinton.
Hopefully within the next 2 weeks, maybe. They've been there about 3 weeks already.
Okay,
Yeah, they've been outfitting Clinton.
have they been assigned, et cetera?
Yes,
Okay. The report that I asked you about, is that coming next month? The annual vehicle report?
yeah, it'll be included with the yearly 2023 police department report.
Do we include, and if we don't, is it much of a bother to include both of Patrick's vehicles? Oh, they're in there, and also the town vehicles too?
Already got that
Oh, good.
information.
All right. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Thank you again to your officer for a quick response and getting that vandalism call taken care of. That was very good. Everybody in Ives Landing, not everybody, but the folks that are talking about it, I'm pushing it and saying, yeah, and they're agreeing that we have a great police department. They were right there on the spot in the middle of the night.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Very nice.
Thank you, Chief.
Chief, I'd just like to say that I was in a discussion with a couple with the sheriff's office and they talked very highly of you and I bragged on you and you know, they really, we appreciate what you do, not just here, but with other agencies and your interaction. I just want to tell you, thank you for that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Patrick?
Oh, hey, Patrick, before you start, Chief, what I want to make it, I told you this prior to the meeting. You don't have to get up. I told you this prior to the meeting, but I'll say it for the benefit of everybody here. If you look on the third page of your police report and you see the activity versus calls in the new graph, that's when we requested he do that, and Sergeant Barton has done that, and I really appreciate it. I'm sure the rest of the council appreciates it, because now it's just a quick glance and you can see the trend. So very good. Thank you.
Evening, council. You guys have my report. If you have any questions.
I don't see it on here, but how are you doing with your gators?
We're still working on them. We're trying to squeeze in time when we can. We've been pretty busy lately.
That was a little dig there.
Oh, no, we're still working on them.
Yeah, because it's a lot of work. But
We'll-
thank you. I
we'll get it.
appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
You have in your maintenance facility, I see, and you and I have talked about it, the new compressed air thing and everything else. Is there anything else that you need in there that we can help you with? I mean,
Well, we purchased a welder this year, beginning of the year. We
Okay.
purchased a new welder. We have a lift. We got an air compressor.
right?
Tire machine's gonna be next.
Okay,
We go through a lot of tires, like going to blacks, dealing with tires with
Okay.
like, especially the police department.
right.
So,
So that's
Um,
something we need to put in our budget, then, don't we?
yeah, we might be able to buy it this year.
Okay.
I'm hoping to, but we do need a tire machine. That'll save us a lot of money and time of just going back and forth to blacks.
Right. Okay.
Any more questions? Thank you, Patrick, for all you do. Council, anybody have any comments? I have one. I made a comment before everybody, we went online and everything. I want to thank staff and the police department for your Facebook thank yous. They have been really, really good, the ones I have viewed. The way the staff and the police department, the police officers are wording it, they are building up our town, and I thank you so much for that. It really, really made me feel good to see them. I don't know if y'all been online.
That was one of the things that I wrote down. I had people in my family showing me the stuff and they really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I thought it was a very positive thing for the town to see our officers and our staff make the comments and reach out. And I think it was important. I don't know who came up with it, but thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I just, it was,
Would be windy.
Yeah, no, of course not.
I just got a couple of things, the logo thing. So just make sure we're going away from that plain Jane thing on the side of the car. Is that what we're talking about? like on the side of the car, like the sticker thing.
Mm.
That,
That's our town seal.
Yeah.
And so, yes, we would like to
Just
only
leave
use
that
the
in
town
the town
seal
hall.
for what it needs to be and actually have a logo
Yeah.
for the town.
Okay, good.
Correct.
I thought it was, but,
Yeah.
Well,
do we have any flags or any decorations for the street lights going down the street?
have you got any money? You have to put that in the budget.
When we get our logo,
share-
we're gonna
we're
hit
sharing.
y'all with some budget requests.
Huh?
I said, when we get our logo, we're gonna hit y'all with some budget requests
Mhm.
Well, I think there's
and a
certain,
sign.
I
for
mean, I
town
think
hall.
there's certain things that, I mean, that we need to
Well,
say,
that-
Merry Christmas.
That's what you have to put it in your budget to pay for that, because they are not cheap.
No,
They are not
Oh, yeah.
free.
No.
They are very expensive. Anytime you're putting out signs like that. So,
You use them.
oh
every
yeah, you
year,
can
so-
use them several years, but this is something
well,
that
I-
we need to look at
Yeah,
our
because
budget.
I think that
Yeah.
Sherry was bringing an amended budget, so.
Yeah.
All right, tell her I asked about it. Let's see here, is Selco still using a portion of our property?
they are. They were scheduled to be out of the 6th Bay by the end of December, 1st of January. It may be the end of January before they're out, but we've been in contact with them. They're waiting. They were waiting for some permits at their new place, but now they're back on track with that. So,
Okay.
and then the billboard is scheduled to be gone by April, end of April.
Oh, okay. I didn't know they had that on the schedule yet.
Well, it's supposed to be gone within 12 months. So
That's right.
would be the
That's
end of
right.
April.
12 months, I think, yeah.
And the
Okay.
only other thing I have is that I was privileged to be asked to be a part of a meeting with some school system folks and in their 5-year projection. And Wendy was good enough to get me some numbers. And so they are being proactive as far as planning for Wilson's Mills and the growth. And I don't really think that they realized until and thank you, Wendy, for getting those numbers. The numbers in 5 years, I think they were a little shocked by those numbers, but it was a great meeting and they are looking at our school, what they need to do as far as here, this school, as well as down the road, 3 to 5 year projection. So, but that was a good meeting, about an hour and a half, but it went very well.
Thank you. Thank you for going.
I just have one thing. I'd like to get an update on, I see Faye's here. Hello, Faye. I'd like to get an update on, what we're looking at signage wise at the park. At the park, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What we've been looking at are gonna resemble the sign that we got coming into town hall, which is also sort of like the sign at the town hall campus, the stone with the center that will show the name as Philip Wright Community Park. But we've also been looking at some very, very expensive numbers, and that is not anything that we budgeted for. So I've been discussing with Sherry where we might be able to pull that money or move some of it. So
Is
we'll
there
be
anything-
bringing that to
Is
you
there
when
anything
we get.
available county wise or state?
sorry?
Anything available money wise, state or county?
No, the money not that I'm aware of, the money that we got for the sign coming into town hall was for downtown development from economic development. So I don't know that would, well, they're not doing that grant anymore,
Yeah.
but I don't know that something at the park would qualify for anything like that.
Anything
so.
through Parks and Rec? Because we did get,
Does the county have any money that we could apply for? I mean, through Parks and
Have
Rec.
any money.
I
Um,
mean, sometimes they do have grants. I don't,
We're looking into.
Okay.
yeah,
all
I
that
figured you were. I just
money.
wanted to throw it out there. I've been, I see Faye here. I'm just wondering.
we're still working on, me and her talked about what we want it to look like. We don't want it to be a little hinky dinky sign standing out there. We want it to be, it's not just gonna be one of these signs that say Philip. We want it to be a good sign at
Yeah,
the park.
right.
We've been
Okay.
getting some numbers because we'd really like for it to match the other signs around
Yeah.
town. So
And dog park stuff? How are we?
that's on hold for now. We're meeting with Part F, December 4th. I think it's December 4th about some other stuff out at the park.
Okay.
And what we decide to do with building out the concession stand, office type building or storage building for the rugby and for us to use in the center will determine how far out the dog park will go. So we're not doing any aggressive plans with the dog park right now, just because we have to figure out the rest of that.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else? At this time, I will open the second open forum. Anybody wishing to come forward? Please do so. Limit your comments to 3 minutes. No one wishing to come forward, I close the open forum. Councilman Gowan made the motion to adjourn. Councilman Brown seconded. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.